I was born in the city, but since I was a kid, I've always dreamed of living out in the countryside. My parents and grandparents are all city folk, so I spent most of my summer vacations surrounded by skyscrapers and miles of asphalt. Meanwhile, all my friends would head out to the village, and whenever they came back, they'd have the best stories to tell. Fishing trips, swimming in the river, picking berries in the forest, dodging the local witch's house, and sneaking out at night to explore. Their tales of endless freedom and adventure always had me hooked. But for me, childhood felt more like a never-ending chore. My parents were always coming up with things for me and my younger brother to do. Cleaning the apartment, sorting stuff out in the garage, running errands. You name it. I started saving up for my dream village house even when I was still in school. When my grandmother passed away and my brother and I inherited her property, my dream finally became a reality. During my time at university, I met Addison, the woman I would eventually marry. A year later, we tied the knot. Come on, Josiah, his house is literally in the middle of nowhere. Maybe we should get a car, live in my apartment, and go on vacation like normal people. Addison tried to talk me out of it, but I was already on the phone with the seller whose ad I found online. Seriously, I shot back, not hiding my frustration. I've been wanting to escape this concrete jungle my whole life, and you want us to stay in this cramped hellhole apartment with a view of traffic. Well, I actually like this apartment, Addison said, walking over to the window. What's so bad about it? It's got electricity, gas, and a roof that doesn't need fixing every year. There are people out there who don't have half of that. Why do we have to live in the middle of nowhere, in some little shack? You don't get it, I said. This city life, it's not for me. I want to be closer to nature, and living in the countryside is better for your health too. It's pointless for you to try and convince me. Addison muttered, tossing her sweater into the closet before heading to the kitchen. The deal went through quickly, and we packed up and moved into the village house. Addison grumbled the whole time, constantly complaining. She even took a job in the city just to spite me. So what? There's nothing else to do, and I only go to work once a week. It's not like I have to go more than twice a month, I said, getting to work in the garden and building a sauna. Eventually, Addison got used to village life. Her constant complaints stopped, and she even started pitching in with the household chores. She gained a little weight from the fresh air too. Hey, how about not going to work tomorrow? I asked, noticing Addison had been digging through the closet for what felt like forever. I'm leaving, and don't even try to talk me out of it. Why do you need a sweater in summer? It's August, for heaven's sake. Because it gets cold at work, and I'll need it when fall hits. Addison rummaged through a big bag. After a bit of searching, she finally found what she needed and lugged her things to the front door. Oh, by the way, the locals and I are going hunting this weekend. You think you'll manage here without me? I'll manage, she grumbled. I'm not a kid. I'll figure it out without a stool. Don't worry. Great. I'll write down what needs to be done. Josiah, seriously, let go of the idea of getting me into rural chores. I'm not doing any of it, so don't get your hopes up. Addison headed back to the city, and I got ready for the hunt. The evening passed by unnoticed, but by 7 and then 8 o'clock, Addison still hadn't returned. I was starting to get worried when I finally got a message from her saying she'd missed her train and would be staying the night. Just then, one of the hunters I was supposed to go with knocked on the door. We're heading out tonight, by the way, he said. Why so early? I asked, surprised. Well, there's a river along the way, and it's August, and the fish are biting. We want to leave our spinning rods there and then move on. Are you in business? It's a really cool place. Yeah, I've been waiting for this. Don't we need a whole day for the trip? We're leaving at midnight. Be ready. I'll pick you up. We left exactly at the appointed time. A jeep pulled up, and I was already waiting at the gate with my things. We put everything in the trunk and hit the road with the other cars. We were traveling in 3 cars, as he also arrived in his own. By the way, when should I congratulate you? Congratulate me on what? I asked, confused. Come on, man. You're going to be a dad soon. My wife saw your wife at the women's clinic in the city. She went to register early, but I guess you haven't heard yet. Oops, I ruined the surprise. You're serious. I didn't know what to say. I had no idea. So you didn't spoil anything. But I thought to myself that this was news. I wasn't sure why I said that. We finally arrived at the place, and the fishing turned out to be better than I could have imagined. I have never seen such a fish, even in photographs. The thought of becoming a father in less than a year made me feel warm inside. The hunting went well too. We shot some ducks. The weekend flew by unnoticed, and soon it was time to return. I tried to call Addison, but her phone was off. I got home late that evening. The house was eerily quiet, and no one was there. I kept calling her, but it was still the same. Her phone was unreachable. When I finally made it upstairs to our bedroom, I didn't notice it at first, but then I saw a piece of paper with handwritten words on the pillow. Josia, don't try to reach me. I'm not coming back. I'll file for divorce myself. Live your life in your village, and don't bother my parents. I stared at the note, barely believing what I was reading. The cupboards were empty, too. Later, her friends told me what happened. Addison had quietly moved her things out while I was away, taking everything to her colleague's place. That weekend, she came back and took the last of her stuff from our home. It took me 2 months to get in touch with Addison's parents. Her mom told me to leave them alone. The child isn't yours, anyway, she said. It's better for Addison to be with someone else in the city than working on your farm from sunrise to sunset. It took me a while to process all of this, especially after hearing her mother's words about the child not being mine. At first, I wanted to find Addison and demand a paternity test, but my neighbor convinced me not to. In hindsight, I'm glad I didn't. A few years later, I married a wonderful woman, and I'm still living in the same house. Now I have 2 beautiful kids and a great wife. All in all, things are good now.